Mood Diary, day 58. Today I am feeling, right this moment, I'm feeling really good and kind of like inspired. The day started a bit heavy because today I had to wake up. I wanted to wake up really early, and then I decided to edit some old video. Not very old, but we had an interview with a friend of mine back in October, and then I produced few videos, and then I didn't finish the rest because sometimes when you have a huge chunk of material, you don't want to put a 2 hours of uncut version of the video because nobody has patience to watch that. And also, if we speak of number of different subjects, it's good to kind of like separate it by the themes. And because I like to do it quite playful at the end at least or something, so I do a bit of editing. Obviously, if you compare me with some gurus and pros with really cool editing skills, then probably it's not really that much. But for me, who is kind of like self-taught, and someone who self-practice is a lot, and I'm like quite proud of myself with the skills and progress that I made. So I've done that, and it felt quite satisfactory because when you have something for a long time which is not on your priority list, and you keep on postponing, and then at some point it's like, you know what, that thing that I was saying that I'm gonna do, at some point now I've done it. It feels very satisfying. So, and then I was listening to some videos because what I'm doing, I'm working on some Excel sheet, and at the same time I get to listen to some interviews or videos. And I was watching video about metaphysical anatomy technique, and it reminded me of something which I knew about the consciousness. So when we exist every single day, the experience that we keep on attracting is the one that our brain filters through. And whatever we're filtering through depends on how we see things and what we believe. And those things depend on what happened to us, our not necessarily education, but our upbringing and values, and how things were when we were developing. So basically the concept was that the thing that really made me happy, or made me feel very happy for a minute, was remembering that, wait a minute, brain is a processor. It kind of functions like a processor, and the reality is kind of like a slides that goes through us constantly. For example, if you have a video and you have a what is it called, when you have frames, you have a frames. So what's happening is these frames keep on going through your consciousness. You keep on attracting frames depending on what you're focusing on and how you're feeling. Now the thing is, in each frame there is everything. So for example, the difference between people who have extremely high psychic abilities or extrasensory abilities is when this information is around them every day, they are able to pick up that sensory information in whichever form it comes to them. And the rest of us, who may only have one or two, or some people might consider themselves not having any type of extra sensory or intuitive abilities, may only experience pure physical form of what is presented to them. So another thing in that is that if all the information contains in every frame, it means basically every frame contains not only all information, sensory information, but also includes all emotional information. So for example, if you feel disconnected or you feel cut off of something, it's not to say that this is invalid and this is not true, but what you can do once you learn mastering it, or if you want to use it and if you want to experience that, you can deliberately focus on what you want to feel at that moment and choose to filter out that type of experience. What I did, I was sitting in sitting room, kitchen. Well, sitting room and kitchen is the only room. It's actually my office on the sofa, because that's the only room that is more comfortable to actually work. And I was alone. And when I was alone, I was kind of feeling alone. And at that point, I wanted to feel connected, and that I'm connected with other people through the invisible type of network. And then I remember that old concept, how our brain filters things. And also I remember the other concept on how our heart fields are 20 to 40 times more powerful than our brain fields. And also when we connect to each other, in the physical, for example, we also connect to each other on emotional level, and we feel it because our heart fields connect. But interesting thing about heart fields and that type of electromagnetic energy and experience is distance doesn't matter. So once we connect to specific electromagnetic field of someone's heart, it doesn't matter if they're like miles away, 1,000 miles away, other side of the globe, you're still connected. Well, that's the whole separate discussion about the time, space, reality, and distances, and how none of that on one level exists, or why it is possible to access remote locations with your consciousness and that type of thing. Okay, so basically I am at the moment, I'd say 9.5 out of 10, because I get really inspired and excited when I dive into these metaphysical concepts. And like lots of them I actually have, I wouldn't say forgotten, but I have read plenty of books about all of that. And then you kind of go into your habitual way of being, and sometimes you forget you have those tools that you can use. So yeah, luckily to me, watching this video on metaphysical anatomy technique, I also was reminded of all of that interconnectedness and access to everything at any point energetically. So I feel very good. And at that point when I felt when I accessed that kind of like actually I'm connected to everybody, I'm not on my own. Yes, I'm alone in the room, but I kind of accessed the feeling of not being on my own, and that really felt good. And it actually really and I really felt happy at that point. I was like, yeah, you know what, everything is fine, I'm good, everything is fine. I'm not saying it's like that every day or all day, but it was like that for me today. So I hope you're having a good day. And if you are missing something in your life, and if you have no way to do it via physical means, try focusing on accessing that type of energy, or even when you recall the time when you felt that, and you'll feel much better. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.